Now at 5, a local school district gets training on spotting potential violence. Plus, how an area resident is making sure 4-staters have AC during the intense heat. And
Senate Democrats announce a surprise deal on climate and health care. I'm Natalie Brand on Capitol Hill. Details of what's in the bill and why the president says it would be historic.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Some local educators are learning how to prevent mass shootings. This is KOAM News at 5. As students prepare to begin a new school year, McDonald County school leaders are attending a behavioral risk assessment training. The goal, to be able to spot potential violence before it starts. School Safety Director Buck Owen says being proactive is one of the best ways to stop and reduce the risk of school shootings.
If we're reactive and wait till a threat reaches our building, it's too late. We have to act before the threat ever makes it to our school, and that's by intervening early in the process and identifying the warning signs and acting on those and getting those kids the mental health help that they need.
School officials say the safety of the students is the utmost priority. Let's check in with Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, we did get some scattered showers and some scattered thunderstorms during the morning hours, which was great to see. Most of the afternoon has been dry, but we've had a few isolated little thunderstorms that have popped up in our far northern counties. At least most of us right now are fairly dry. I do think we'll start to get scattered thunderstorms through the evening into the overnight hours, but these are mainly going to be in our southern counties as we go into the overnight hours tonight. So about 30 to 40% of us will start to see rain, mainly I-44 and south a little bit later on tonight. So here's after midnight. You can see most of the showers and thunderstorms will stay in our southern counties. So not a lot of rain for us tonight, but still some rain chances in the forecast. We've kind of heated up, upper 80s to lower 90s across the region. We'll drop back through the 80s, 70s later on tonight. We'll look at the cooler temps and rain chances here in just a bit.
See you then. The extreme heat the 4 states has endured recently has stressed or even broken a lot of people's AC and cooling units in their homes. Kyle Hackworth, a McDonald County resident, has started a GoFundMe page to help his community members who can't afford an AC unit. Hackworth currently has 10 families waiting for his help, but due to a lack of donations, the group has been unable to buy and deliver units until funds allow.
When I was struggling when I was younger, you know, I didn't have people to help me, and I had to do it myself. And a lot of people don't have those funds or those means to help themselves, and they need that extra help to say, hey, they're not out there trying to scam people or anything like that. They're truly needing help.
To learn how you can donate, go to KOAMnewsnow.com. Joplin native Rio Michelle is concerned how plus-size women, as well as women over age 50 years old, are not recognized enough. She says it's hard to find clothing that's the right size, but also provided tips on how to represent and take care of herself at the age of 50. Rio states that every woman should do what they want in their lives, and if they feel like they want to go out and be noticed, they should do so. She's created pages on social media to help women struggling with the same kind of questions to connect each other.
I think that it's really important to, kind of share with other women that are in the same void with me, some of the tips maybe, even if it's just camaraderie, even if it's just someone that they can reach out to and go, I hear you.
You follow Rio on TikTok and Facebook with her name, Rio Michelle. The president and Senate Democrats are touting a new deal aimed at fighting inflation, funding U.S. energy, and lowering prescription drug costs. Today, one of the lead negotiators, West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, called the agreement a win-win during a press call from home. Reporter Natalie Brand has more from Capitol Hill.
President Biden says if passed, the Senate Democrats' reconciliation bill would be historic.
This is the strongest bill you can pass to lower inflation, cut the deficit, reduce health care costs, tackle the climate crisis, and promote energy security.
The surprise deal on climate and health care was announced late Wednesday by Democratic leaders and West Virginia Senator Joe Manchin, who previously had expressed concern.
I think that we've hit a balance This is not a Democrat bill. This is not a Republican bill. This is an American bill.
Dubbed the Inflation Reduction Act, the measure would invest nearly $370 billion in energy and climate programs over the next 10 years, with a goal of reducing carbon emissions by around 40% by 2030. The measure includes incentives such as up to $7,500 tax credits to those who buy electric vehicles. The bill would also allow Medicare to negotiate prescription drug prices and would cap out-of-pocket costs for seniors at $2,000 a year. Democrats say the legislation is paid for in part by a 15% corporate minimum tax and boosting IRS enforcement.
The text of the bill still needs to be reviewed by the Senate parliamentarian in order for Democrats to use the budget reconciliation process. That would allow passage with just a simple majority, since Republicans are opposed.
I think it's really bad for America right now as we're trying to climb out of this spiral we have, which is low economic growth and high inflation.
Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer hopes the bill could go before the full Senate as early as next week. Natalie Brandt, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
The Senate's other moderate Democrat, Arizona's Kyrsten Sinema, has yet to indicate if she'll support the deal. Her office says she's reviewing the text. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi also says her caucus is reviewing the text, although she told reporters she is, quote, very proud of the agreement. President Biden today had a much anticipated phone call with the Chinese President Xi Jinping. According to a statement released by the White House, the two leaders discussed a range of issues important to the bilateral relationship and other regional and global issues. The statement also said Mr. Biden reiterated the U.S. policy on Taiwan and that it strongly opposes efforts to undermine peace and stability across the Taiwan Strait. The State Department could be close to a deal to secure the release of WNBA star Brittany Griner and Marine veteran Paul Whelan from captivity in Russia. There's speculation it may involve an exchange for one of the world's most notorious arms dealers, Victor Bout, who's now in U.S. custody for conspiring to support terrorism and conspiring to kill Americans. However, a Kremlin spokesperson said today, quote, so far there is no agreement on the issue. Still ahead, the latest economic report.
Is the country headed for a recession? I'm Deborah Alfarone at the White House, where the Biden administration is pushing back on the latest outlook after indicators say the economy is slowing.
And next in Health Watch, how the CDC expects monkeypox to grow in the U.S. Topping today's Health Watch, the United States now has more confirmed monkeypox cases than any other country in the world. And the CDC says it expects that number of cases to continue to climb over the next few weeks. It comes as the Biden administration weighs whether to declare the virus a public health emergency. Michael George reports.
This LGBTQ plus community center in White Plains, New York is hosting a monkeypox vaccine clinic as cases across the country continue to rise.
The demand for vaccination is very high, which is great because that means people want to protect themselves.
The CDC says there are now more than 4,600 confirmed cases in the United States, with more than a quarter of the cases in New York and 17% in California.
Bottom line is we need to stay ahead of this and be able to end this outbreak.
The Health and Human Services Secretary announced Thursday the department will distribute 786,000 newly available doses of the vaccine.
Getting the vaccine out is absolutely critical right now. If we want to stop this, if we want to arrest it immediately, we need to get as many folks vaccinated as possible.
Federal health officials say they'll prioritize getting the vaccine to areas with the greatest number of people at risk. Monkeypox spreads through skin-on-skin and other close contact. Anyone can get it, but so far this outbreak is primarily impacting men who have sex with men.
This is very triggering for our community. We are a community that was ravaged in the early 80s by the AIDS epidemic.
The Biden administration is still weighing whether to declare monkeypox a public health emergency, which would open up more resources to fight it. Michael George, CBS News, White Plains, New York.
The CDC says in 99% of cases, the patient reported a rash. The other three most common symptoms were tiredness, fever, and swollen lymph nodes. New research published in the BMJ finds about 5% of adults may experience lasting smell or taste problems after recovering from COVID-19. With so many people getting the virus, that means at least 27 million people could be dealing with diminished quality of life. The study found women were less likely to recover their sense of smell and taste than men. And a new study in the journal Circulation finds adults who get more than the recommended amount of daily exercise each week have the lowest risk of death. Under current guidelines, adults should get at least 150 minutes of moderate intensity aerobic exercise or 75 minutes of vigorous aerobic activity or some combination of both each week. The new study looked at data and medical records of more than 100,000 people over 30 years. Adults who engaged in double the recommended amount of either moderate or vigorous physical activity had the lowest long-term risk of death. And that is a look at today's health news. A little bit later, a pair of low-cost airlines announced plans for a merger.
Plus additional rain chances in the forecast. We're going to look at that coming up. Well, of course, it turned out to be another fairly hot day for us today. Temperatures mainly right around 90 into lower 90s as we worked into the afternoon after some morning thunderstorms. Not a lot of rain, but at least something across the region. Then partly sunny skies. You can see those cumulus clouds popping up once again for us this afternoon. So officially in Joplin, not much rain, only 1/100th of an inch, but it's something. So it puts us a little over ½ an inch for the month, but we still need a good widespread rain. Temperatures mainly upper 80s to lower 90s across the region, a little bit hotter once you get out across southeastern parts of Kansas, but still a lot better than what we have seen. But the humidity is kind of high. We're in that 65 to 70 degree range on our dew points, which puts us kind of in that sticky to muggy range. And that's what we're going to see as we go through the next couple days. A lot of cumulus clouds. Could get a few isolated showers or thunder showers popping up this evening. 89. Humidity is at 48%. Through the evening hours, we slide back through the 80s into the 70s. Actually, upper 60s to near 70 a little bit later on tonight. Here comes the batch of showers and thunderstorms earlier this morning. Most of this was fairly light, but again, it gave us a little bit of rain. And over the past couple hours, our northern counties have picked up a few isolated little thunderstorms, but most of us are fairly quiet. I think through the evening hours, we'll have a few random isolated showers or thunder showers, but that is just about it. You can see these guys kind of popping up, mainly north of Nevada, north of Fort Scott. And besides that, I think thunderstorms will get going in our far southern counties a little bit later on tonight. But most of us probably not seeing much in the way of rainfall this evening or tonight. You can see these getting going. So here's 1 o'clock in the morning. Most of us dry, scattered thunderstorms, far southern counties, mainly I-44 and south. As we get into tomorrow morning, these will still be sticking around in our southern counties, then kind of break up. And I think most of the day is going to be dry. We'll see a few isolated storms once again, but most of the day will be dry. But temperatures, not too bad. 70 to start, 80 by noon, high temp right around 84. Tomorrow night into Saturday morning, I think, is our best shot to get some widespread rain. Here's 2 a.m. Saturday morning, scattered showers and thunderstorms popping up, and this should go through the center of, or the heart of the four-state area, giving us scattered showers and thunderstorms at least the first half of the day on Saturday, and then things will calm down just a little bit Saturday afternoon, but kind of refiring again a little bit Saturday night into Sunday. So this is good to at least see these chances in the forecast over the next few days. Rainfall amounts very scattered, but I think with the batch tomorrow night into Saturday morning, hopefully most of us can pick up a quarter, ½ an inch, maybe a little bit more than that. Temperatures pretty good the next few days. 84 tomorrow, 80 on Saturday, 86 on Sunday. Then we start to dry back out. 90s Monday, and then sitting kind of near that triple-digit mark most of next week, all the way into next weekend. So we need to get at least one batch of widespread rain over the next couple days.
Yeah, because it's going to be dry again next week.
Yeah, it is.
Thanks, Doug. At least 3 people have died. Dozens of others are missing after heavy rains across southeastern Kentucky. Kentucky's governor says this is, quote, one of the worst, most devastating flooding events in that state's history. More than 25,000 Kentucky residents are without power, and some areas are without cell phone service. Coming up, a look at the latest quarterly economic report. First, though, we honor a local veteran. Ronald Uber served in the U.S. Air Force in 1964 and 65. The Weir, Kansas native was stationed in Vietnam, and we salute Private First Class Ronald Uber, a four-state hero. Topping today's Consumer Watch, the economy is slowing down, but are we on the brink of a recession? Reporter Deborah Alfarone has the latest government report on how the White House is managing the reaction.
President Biden met with a group of corporate executives as signals flashed of an economic downturn.
There's going to be a lot of chatter today on Wall Street and among pundits about whether we are in a recession.
The Commerce Department reported the gross domestic product shrank from April through June at an annual rate of 0.9%. The government's broadest measure of the economy has now declined for 2 straight quarters, traditionally a sign of recession. But President Biden says the slowdown is necessary to tackle rising prices.
There's no doubt we expect growth to be slower than last year and the rapid clip we had. But that's consistent with the transition to a stable, steady growth and lower inflation.
With the midterm elections approaching, the Biden administration is pushing back on the idea that the U.S. economy is sliding into a recession, pointing to areas of strength in the economy.
Job creation is continuing. Household finances remain strong. Consumers are spending and businesses are growing.
Even so, Americans are struggling with both higher borrowing rates and stubborn inflation.
I suspect prices are going to keep coming down, but they're going to remain uncomfortably high for a longer period of time than any of us would like.
The economy's last recession lasted only 2 months in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. Deborah Alfarone, CBS News, Washington.
The Treasury Secretary says inflation is putting great stress on Americans and remains the administration's top priority. Your child's school bus might be getting a makeover for the new school year. The EPA is helping school districts all across the country go green with its Clean Bus program. The program offers rebates to school districts to buy zero-emission buses. Schools can get up to $375,000 per bus. Priority is given to school districts in low-income or rural areas. Districts can apply through August 19th, and they'll be selected in October. Jetblue Airways today announced a deal to buy Spirit Airlines. If approved by U.S. regulators, the merger of the two largest ultra-low-cost carriers in the United States would create America's 5th largest airline. The announcement came a day after Spirit rejected a deal to merge with Frontier. Sprite has been recognized for decades by its green cans and bottles, but Coca-Cola announced it's retiring Sprite's green plastic bottles for more environmentally friendly clear ones. Sprite's current plastic contains green polyethylene phthalate. That's an additive that can't be recycled. But clear bottles can be recycled into new ones. The change will take effect next month. A final check of the forecast next. Up next on the CBS Evening News, a look at why older people are now the fastest growing group among the newly homeless. Then on KOAM News at 6, we're going to have results from a poll concerning Missouri election next week on topics related to the upcoming election and races. Plus, a former project manager in charge of cleaning up lead contamination in Granby, Missouri pleads guilty to federal crime. And we're going to hear from the Webb City Little League team after they won the state championship. Stay with us for the CBS Evening News and then KOAM News at 6. The temperature coming down a little bit, and eventually some rain is going to be coming down a bit more.
Let's definitely hope so. A little bit of rain for us today, and it's going to be fairly isolated tonight into tomorrow. I think our best shot for rain is late tomorrow night into Saturday morning, but temperatures in the 80s the next few days. Enjoy it because 90s and triple digits do return.
Of course they do. Thanks for joining us. The CBS Evening News is next, and of course we're going to be right back here for KOAM News at 6. See you then. Let's make it a great evening.